Hello, Sarah Smarsh, and thank you so much for joining me today for the Institute of Politics Meet the Fellows program. To introduce myself to all of those watching, my name is Olivia Gross, and I am one of the Pritzker Fellows Program Interns for this school year. I'm from New York City, and I'm a second year in the college, currently studying fundamentals with an interest in free speech. Sarah, could you tell us where you are calling in from?
I am calling in from the great state of Kansas, where I hail from and still live out in the country, as a matter of fact.
Awesome. And then would you mind just giving a brief introduction about yourself and telling us a bit about what you'll be exploring with students this quarter?
I am a journalist, a writer of many sorts who covers socioeconomic class mostly as it intersects with and relates to other identities, be that gender, race, place, and so on. I'm so excited about this fellowship and the opportunity to be in community with students like yourself because I miss the classroom and that sort of engagement and magic that happens in a campus environment.
You know, we've just entered 2022. I feel like I gotta ask if you have any New Year's resolutions that you'd like to share with us.
I love that question. I am a person who deeply believes in rituals, but I don't set New Year's resolutions per se in such a draconian manner as they're usually discussed, but I do like to pick a word or an intention or a kind of theme going into the year that sort of centers my way of thinking about decision making. 20 years ago, there was a term that has largely been lost, but it's civic journalism, a sense of applying one's journalism toward the greater good, seeking as much objectivity as possible, whilst also having concern for the public being informed. Society is nothing if not a collection of private hearts and minds. And so those of us who are concerned about justice should not only be, advocating for marginalized groups and doing the work of marches and protests and keeping government accountable, but we should also be reflecting on what is just in our own lives and what sort of freedoms are we demanding for ourselves. And I do think that all of the above are related.
What are things that you're eager to talk with students about in particular, or what things that you feel like you've learned from students in the past that you're looking forward to continuing?
Something that I'm just incredibly excited about as a person who identifies as a woman and has written a lot about the way that gender and class intersect. I feel like in the decades since I left, the campus environments, there's been this incredible revolution around the concept of gender, moving away from binaries and changing our language.
I felt like I learned a lot about myself during the pandemic. I'm curious to hear from you. What's the most surprising thing that you might have learned about yourself during the pandemic?
This is probably not a very inspiring answer, but I'm just going to be honest. I found comfort in just being way less ambitious. I'm very privileged that at this moment I can, step back a little bit and not, more isn't necessarily more, and just living a quieter life, which again was an incredible privilege to be able to do. I was surprised to find that I enjoyed that quite a bit.
I hate to put you on the spot here, but I'm really curious if you could have anyone be a guest during your seminar series, who would it be?
If I could have anyone, I've already lined up quite a few of the guests, which I'm really excited for you all to meet. I'm hoping that later in the quarter, we'll get a visit from Representative Sharice Davis. She's a U.S. Congresswoman from Kansas, the 3rd District, Democrat. She's got an incredible story that certainly pertains to class and race and ethnicity, and is also just a brilliant woman in her own right who's doing good work for the country. So I hope to snag her for later in the quarter. Yeah.
Well, Sarah, it was such a pleasure getting to speak with you, and I'm so excited for what your seminars have in store for the winter quarter ahead.
I'm not letting you off the hook, though. You have to tell me what you learned during the pandemic.
Oh, during the pandemic, I think I learned that I actually am a lot more content in my own company than I thought I was. I think I never let myself be alone prior to the pandemic. But when I kind of was just at home with my family, I learned that I'm pretty entertained and content with the thoughts in my own head, which was a great conclusion to come to.
Great
so
conclusion.
Yeah,
well done.
Yeah, well, you Chicago students, make sure to sign up for Sarah's seminars and office hours on the IOP website. Thank you so much again, Sarah.
Thanks, Olivia.
Bye.